Imagine a world teeming with life that seems almost mythical to us today. North America, 13,000 years ago, was a landscape dominated by colossal creatures. Herds of woolly mammoths and mastodons, with their immense tusks and shaggy coats, roamed the plains. Giant ground sloths, some as large as modern-day elephants, ambled through forests, and saber-toothed cats, with their iconic dagger-like canines, hunted formidable prey. Alongside these magnificent beasts lived a group of remarkable people. We call them the Clovis culture, named after the distinctive, beautifully crafted stone spear points they left behind. They were expert hunters and pioneers, the first widespread identifiable culture in the Americas. And then, in the geological blink of an eye, they all vanished. The disappearance of the Clovis people and the extinction of over 35 different types of large mammals represents one of the most profound mysteries in our continent's history. For decades, scientists debated the cause. Was it overhunting by the Clovis people, a sudden and devastating disease, or rapid climate change? The evidence was sparse, and no single theory seemed to fit all the facts. It was a puzzle with too many missing pieces. The Clovis toolkit, so effective and widespread, suddenly stops appearing in the archaeological record. It was as if a curtain fell on this entire world, leaving only whispers and questions behind for us to find. But what if the cause was not from this world at all? What if the answer to this ancient American doomsday was written in the stars? A growing and controversial theory suggests that the cataclysm was triggered by a cosmic event, but one that a dedicated group of scientists believes is supported by a trail of microscopic clues. This theory, known as the Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis, attempts to connect all the dots of this ancient extinction event. It's a story of cosmic chance and terrestrial devastation, a reminder that our planet is part of a much larger and sometimes dangerous cosmic neighborhood. So, how do you find evidence of a cosmic impact that happened nearly 13,000 years ago, especially if it didn't leave behind an obvious giant crater? The answer lies in looking for microscopic fingerprints of an almost unbelievably violent event. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence is a special type of mineral called shocked quartz. Imagine a normal, everyday grain of quartz sand. Under a microscope, it's just a simple crystal. But when that grain is subjected to the kind of extreme, instantaneous pressure and temperature that you only find in a nuclear explosion or a hypervelocity asteroid impact, something amazing happens. The crystal structure inside the quartz is permanently deformed, creating a unique pattern of intersecting lines. These patterns, known as planar deformation features, are essentially scars. They are the mineral's way of telling us it has been through something truly extraordinary. This isn't the kind of pressure that builds up slowly as mountains form, or the kind of heat you find in volcanic lava. It is a specific signature of a high-energy shockwave passing through the rock in a fraction of a second. Finding shocked quartz in a layer of sediment is, for many geologists, a smoking gun. It's a direct indicator that the material at that location was involved in a cosmic impact. Because these features can only be formed under such specific and violent conditions, their presence is incredibly difficult to explain by any other natural terrestrial process, like volcanism or lightning strikes. For a long time, shocked quartz was primarily associated with well-known impact craters, like the Chicxulub crater in Mexico, which is linked to the extinction of the dinosaurs. Discovering it in a thin layer of sediment far from any known crater opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. It suggests that the impactor may have been a fragmented object, or that it exploded in the atmosphere. The tiny grains become a powerful witness to a cataclysm that scorched a continent. The search for evidence led scientists to some of the most important archaeological sites in North America, places already famous for their connection to the Clovis people: Blackwater Draw in New Mexico, Clovis spear points discovered there, bones of extinct bison. Scientists re-examined the soil layers. At the layer where Clovis artifacts and mammoth bones abruptly stop, they found impact markers: shocked quartz, microscopic diamonds, elevated iridium, an extraterrestrial signal, Murray Springs in southern Arizona, a classic Clovis kill site, mammoth and bison remains, stone tools used to butcher them. A thin, dark boundary layer appears. Researchers found impact evidence in that layer: melt glass, tiny silica spherules, nanodiamonds, iridium anomaly. It was as if the final moments of a successful hunt were frozen in time, right before a continental-scale catastrophe struck from above. Arlington Canyon on Santa Rosa Island off the California coast. Arlington Springs Man, some of the oldest human remains in North America. Scientists dated soil layers to about 12,800 years ago. They found the same boundary layer here too: melt glass, carbon spherules, tiny soot balls from continent-spanning wildfires. Finding the same geological signature in 3 distinct locations, hundreds of miles apart, was a major breakthrough. Blackwater Draw, Murray Springs, Arlington Canyon. These 3 sites form a triangle of evidence across the American Southwest. The consistency of the findings is what makes them so powerful. A vibrant world of Clovis hunters and giant animals, a thin boundary layer filled with cosmic markers. Then, silence. It strongly suggests a single widespread event occurred at this exact moment in time, forever changing the course of life on the continent. The evidence found at these archaeological sites paints a dramatic and grim picture of the final days of the Clovis culture. For centuries, these people had thrived. Their iconic fluted spear points are a testament to their skill and adaptability, allowing them to successfully hunt the largest and most dangerous animals. Their toolkit is found from coast to coast, indicating a robust, widespread population. Then, right at the 12,800-year mark, their signature artifacts vanish. The production of Clovis points ceases entirely. It isn't a gradual decline or slow evolution, it's an abrupt stop, a cultural full stop in the record. This collapse coincides with one of the largest extinction events in 65 million years. It wasn't just the woolly mammoths that disappeared, it was a wholesale biological reset. Mastodons, giant beavers, American horses, camels, dire wolves, short-faced bear, all gone. More than 3/4 of North America's large mammal species were wiped out. The impact hypothesis gives a chilling explanation. The initial blast and heat wave would have been devastating. Continent-spanning wildfires, a darkened sky, and the subsequent impact winter, these effects would have collapsed the food chain. For the Clovis people, this was an apocalypse. Their way of life depended on the megafauna. The sudden loss of food sources led to widespread starvation. Survivors faced a radically altered, emptier, and colder world. They had to adapt or perish. The specific Clovis traditions did not survive. Human numbers were likely reduced to a fraction. Survivors splintered into smaller regional groups. They developed new strategies and technologies to survive. Connecting the impact evidence to the end of Clovis and the megafauna gives a unified theory. Rather than blaming Clovis for hunting mammoths to extinction, this theory makes them co-victims. At many of the archaeological and paleontological sites from this time, there is a distinct and often stark visual feature in the earth, the black mat. This is a thin, dark layer of sediment, typically just a few centimeters thick, that drapes over the landscape. It's so visually distinct that you can often trace it with your finger along the wall of an excavation pit. This black mat is found in dozens of locations across North America, and it always appears at the same critical juncture in the geological record, directly on top of the last evidence of Clovis artifacts and megafauna remains. It acts like a geological tombstone, marking the end of one world and the beginning of another. So, what is this black mat? Geochemical analysis reveals that it's rich in carbon, often from algae and other organic material that grew in wetland environments. Its appearance signifies a major environmental shift. The world before the black mat was often a dry, stable grassland or open woodland, the perfect habitat for grazing mammoths. The formation of the black mat indicates that the climate abruptly became wetter and cooler, creating swamps, marshes, and ponds where there had once been plains. This dark layer is the physical evidence of the environmental chaos that immediately followed the proposed impact event and initiated a new, colder climatic period. It's the ground-level signature of a planetary change. Within the base of this mat is precisely where scientists find the highest concentrations of impact markers like nanodiamonds, melt glass, and iridium. The black mat serves as a veil, separating two completely different eras. The period of dramatic climate change that began 12,800 years ago has a name, the Younger Dryas. It's named after a wildflower, Dryas octopetala, that thrives in cold Arctic conditions. Fossils of this flower started appearing in European sediments from this period, indicating a sudden and severe return to glacial temperatures. Just as the Earth was finally warming up after the last major ice age, something slammed on the brakes. Global temperatures, which had been steadily rising, plunged dramatically. In some regions, like the North Atlantic, temperatures may have dropped by as much as 15 degrees Celsius, or 27 degrees Fahrenheit, in just a few years or decades. It was a climatic U-turn of unprecedented speed. This great freeze lasted for about 1,200 years. It was a brutal return to near-glacial conditions that affected the entire northern hemisphere and beyond. Ice sheets that had been retreating began to advance again. Forests died off and were replaced by tundra-like grasslands. The environmental upheaval was immense and global. For a long time, the cause of the Younger Dryas was a major scientific puzzle. The leading theory involved a massive flood of fresh water from a melting North American ice sheet, which poured into the Atlantic Ocean and shut down the ocean currents that carry warm water northward. The impact hypothesis offers a different and much more violent trigger for this event. This aligns perfectly with the timing. The beginning of the Younger Dryas cold snap, the disappearance of the Clovis people and megafauna, and the layer of impact evidence all date to the exact same moment, 12,800 years ago. No discussion of the Younger Dryas impact would be complete without mentioning the author Graham Hancock. While the hypothesis is pursued by a team of credentialed scientists, Hancock, a journalist and author of best-selling books like Magicians of the Gods, has been its most prominent and controversial public champion. He argues that the comet impact didn't just wipe out mammoths and the Clovis culture. He believes it destroyed a sophisticated, advanced global civilization of the Ice Age, a lost civilization reminiscent of Atlantis. Hancock proposes that the survivors of this cataclysm passed on their knowledge of astronomy, agriculture, and architecture to the scattered hunter-gatherer societies that remained, sparking the rise of the world's first known civilizations in places like ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. Hancock's theories are intentionally provocative and have made him a polarizing figure. He weaves the scientific evidence for the impact into a grander, more speculative narrative about humanity's forgotten past. He points to ancient myths of floods and fires from around the world as collective memories of this global cataclysm. For his supporters, he is a courageous truth-teller, connecting the dots that mainstream academia is too rigid to see. They see him as a champion for a more open-minded approach to our ancient history, willing to ask big questions that challenge established timelines and assumptions about the capabilities of our ancestors. His work has brought the Younger Dryas impact theory to a massive global audience. However, many archaeologists and geologists strongly disagree with Hancock's conclusions, even if they are open to the impact hypothesis itself. The scientific community operates on a principle of extraordinary claims requiring extraordinary evidence. While there is physical evidence for a cosmic impact, there is currently no direct archaeological evidence for the kind of advanced global civilization Hancock describes existing 12,800 years ago. Critics argue that he selectively presents data, overinterprets myths, and makes logical leaps that are not supported by the available evidence. While the most dramatic evidence is concentrated in North America, where the hypothesized collision occurred, scientists have found clues this was a truly global event. The search for characteristic impact markers, nanodiamonds, melt glass iridium carbon spherules. Researchers report this cocktail in the 12,800-year sediment layer in more than 20 countries, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. In a cave in Syria at Abu Huraira, archaeologists unearthed a treasure trove. The site shows the shift from hunter-gatherer to farming at the Younger Dryas boundary. A layer of melt glass was found formed at over 2,200 degrees Celsius, 3,992 degrees Fahrenheit, far hotter than lightning, far hotter than volcanism, pointing to a cosmic airburst. The Fertile Crescent find connects the American event to the Old World. Similar evidence: peat bog in Venezuela, Greenland, ice cores, sediment layers in lakes and oceans across Europe. Greenland ice cores are especially compelling. They provide a high-resolution atmospheric timeline at 12,800 years. There's a sudden platinum spike, a layer of dust signs of widespread biomass burning. Ice data provides an independent corroborating record. A regional volcano, a flood in North America could not explain worldwide markers. A major comet impact with fragments exploding over continents, ejecting debris into the upper atmosphere. This global fingerprint means the sky didn't just fall on the Clovis people, it fell on the entire world. The event ended the American Ice Age and plunged